Hey guys, welcome back to the Tea Party Podcast. It's a podcast where you find new friends and new music. And this week I'm joined by Indiana native Dustin Huff. And Dustin, man, thanks for jumping on here with me.
Man, I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. And before we get too far into this, let's start with the Dustin Huff story. I mean, you tell people that you're from Greensburg, Indiana, because that's where people know, but that's not quite true, right?
Yeah, man, I grew up about 15 minutes from the actual town of Greensburg. I live out I was born and raised in the sticks, about, like I said, 15 minutes, and in a little town called Gainersville. And there's probably maybe 50 people or so in that little town.
Well, so give us like the Wikipedia version of how you got into music.
Well, my dad is the one who taught me how to play guitar. And he was in a band for about 7 years whenever I was growing up. So I was always going to shows with him, carrying guitar around for him. And that's just kind of how I got into playing music. But, I mean, I've been around music my whole life, just sitting down in the basement while Dad's making homemade wine. And I'm just sitting there on the jukebox changing the song for him.
Well, there you go. And so was your dad was he just the music guy and obviously the homemade wine guy, or did he do other things as well?
Oh yeah. He did everything else too, but he was a lead guy. He sang in a band. He was the lead singer in his band. I can't even remember what their name was called. I was 6 or 7 whenever he kind of quit, and he taught me how to play whenever I was 12 years old.
Nice. Do you remember what kind of music they played?
Yeah, all old country. I mean, if it wasn't Merle, Waylon, Keith Whitley, I mean, that's kind of what I grew up on.
Well, and I think anybody that listens to your music can kind of tell that. I mean, you kind of have you've got kind of a new country sound, but kind of an old country feel, if that makes sense. But you talk about your dad helping you learn guitar. How old were you when he started teaching you? I mean, is it one of those things like as soon as you could hold the guitar that he had one in your hand?
Well, I actually started on drums whenever I was, 7, 8 years old. Whenever I'd go watch them play, like I was more fascinated with the guy that was beating on the drum set. So I was like, I want a little set whenever I was a kid, and ended up having a set for about 2 years. And then I was like, hey, Dad, I kind of want to learn how to play what you're playing. And that's kind of where it started.
I mean, that makes it easy when you've got somebody like your dad that knows how to play, and he's like, okay, here you go. Let's do this.
Yeah, he just kind of taught me like the, 4 basic chords, and I just kind of took it from there and was coming home from school every day and running to the basement as fast as I could, pick up a guitar.
So when was it that you turned from, playing guitar and kind of just learning it to actually writing some songs?
Like I said, I started playing when I was 12, and I think I wrote my first song when I was 14. I had a girlfriend at the time, and I think that's whenever I wrote my first song for her.
There's something about girls that they will, there's something in your brain that'll make you write a song about them every single time.
Oh, yeah. Yep. They make you do about everything, don't they?
Right? So do you ever go back and look at those old songs? Like I go back to thinking like when I was in high school, and I was terrible at writing songs. I was in a couple of bands in high school, but I've still got notebooks full of these terrible songs. You ever go back and like look at them and go, okay, yeah, I should not have sang this for anybody?
Oh man, songs like when I used to like write on a paper, I had like a little notebook with all my old songs in it. But yeah, I'll go back through those, or I got old CDs that I recorded when I was like 15, 16, 17. And I'm like, what was I, not guitar out of tune, not hitting notes at all. And I'm just like, what was I even thinking?
Well, so when was it that switch kind of flipped and you went from, the guy that was writing songs for his girlfriend to a guy that wanted to make music for a living?
Man, I was a senior, I was going into my senior year, and I was a pretty good golfer back in the day, and I wanted to kind of pursue golf in college, and ended up, I was chasing that my freshman, sophomore, junior, and then it just kind of flipped on me that summer, and I was like, man, I kind of want to try this Nashville thing out. I kind of want to skip out on the college, and because I wanted to get down there early, at 18, 19 years old, and just learn first. And so that's what I did. I just picked up and moved down.
How far
after senior year?
How far from your hometown is Nashville?
It's like 4.5 hours.
So that's not too bad. I mean, you're not moving too far from home, but I'm sure it's a different scene down there, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was a huge change. Like, I remember coming my senior year, when I for sure knew I was moving, me and my dad and my mom would make trips back and forth, looking for like apartments, places to play. And I had never, I didn't spend a lot of time in a city at all ever since I was up to 18 years old. So it was a huge change for sure.
Well, and that's got to be different. I mean, not just moving to a city, but moving to the music city to do music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even with with some time to set it up the way that you did, that's still got to be a complete change, not just from like a lifestyle perspective and what you're doing, but also putting your music out there. I mean, it's a little bit different playing on Broadway than it is playing in middle of nowhere Indiana, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's why I wanted to get down early, because I was like, they always say that's where the best players and the best writers and the best singers move to. So I was like, well, hell, I just kind of want to get down there and just learn kind of off of those guys, and then I just wanted to get down there early.
Well, that makes sense. So when you moved down there, did you move down there knowing that you wanted to be an artist, or did you move down there as a songwriter, or a little bit of both?
It was a little bit of both. And after about 2 years or 3 years or so, I kind of put the artist thing on the back burner and just wanted to do the writing thing, because I just knew I just needed to get better songs. So I was like, well, I'm going to take, a year or so off from singing, playing out all the time. And I just tried to get great songs. And then about a year ago, I was like, man, I kind of want to do the artist thing again. So that's kind of what I'm doing now.
Well, I mean, it's working out for you so far, it seems like. But you put your first EP out in 2015. Was that after you moved to Nashville?
Yes. Yeah, I moved to Nashville in 2013.
So what's that process like when you first moved to Nashville? Obviously, it's a little bit different. You're away from family. You're trying to make those new connections. But what is it like as a new artist when you go out there and you're trying to record an EP? I mean, a lot of people think that you've got to go find a record label or find a studio that'll do it. But there's also a lot of artists, and I don't think a lot of people realize it, that record their first EP in somebody's bedroom because he's got a great setup.
Yeah, that's exactly how it started. I just started out playing these local open mics and just started connecting with people, and ended up meeting my producer and one of my best friends, Joe Costa. And he's like, man, I got a studio set up, man. I'd love to, me and him had been writing for a little bit after this all came to be. And he was like, man, we got 3 pretty decent songs. Let's put you out there. And so went into his little studio at his old house and did a 3-song EP.
Well, and it's if anybody's out there listening, it's out on Spotify. So there's one place that you can find his music. But you were also kind enough to share 3 or 4 songs with us here today. The first one that we've got is one that you put out in 2019. I guess all of them except for one are songs that you put out last year. But it's called "She's a Little More Downtown." Where did that song come from?
Man, I met a girl in Nashville a couple years back, and that's kind of where it came from. We were hanging out for a little while, and I just kind of, after hanging out with her a while, you just kind of pick up on like, man, is this going to go anywhere? Like she came from a very high class family, and I'm just a redneck from the sticks. So I was like, and that's pretty exactly what happened. I mean, her mom took one look at me and was like, what the hell is this old boy? So I wrote a song about it. I was like, well, she's just she's too downtown for me.
There you go. And I feel like there's a lot of songs that start with a guy meeting a girl in Nashville. And this is one of the better ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
get quite a ride, like a palm tree in a red rock desert, or a honky-tonk without a neon light. I guess I should have known better than to ever let it get this far, 'cause she's a little more downtown and I'm a little more down home back 40. She sips on red wine and I drink cheap cold beer in a koozie. Guys like me ain't ever gonna change, and girls like her wind up long gone, 'cause she's a little more downtown and I'm a little more down home. Well, it was damn good while it lasted. I wouldn't trade one single night. Flew by, yeah, went too fast, and I never wanted to say goodbye, but I guess I never really had to, yeah. She left without saying a word, 'cause she's a little more downtown and I'm a little more down home back 40. She sips on red wine and I drink cheap cold beer in a koozie. Guys like me ain't ever gonna change, and girls like her wind up long gone, 'cause she's a little more downtown and I'm a little more down home. I guess I should have known better than to ever let it get this far, 'cause she's a little more downtown and I'm a little more down home back 40. She sips on red wine and I drink cheap cold beer in a koozie. Guys like me ain't ever gonna change, and girls like her wind up long gone, 'cause she's a little more downtown and I'm a little more down home. Yeah, well, she's a little more downtown and I'm a little more down home.
Dustin, how many songs did you release last year?
I released 2, I think, last year. Yeah, 2 or 3. Well, I don't remember when I released that other, my acoustic single. There might have been 2 or 3 last year, I think. I can't remember if I released it in January or December.
Okay, so I mean, sometime in the last 12 or 13 months, give or take what the actual calendar says.
It was probably 3 songs.
Well, and you're coming about in a time that's kind of interesting for music consumption. I mean, almost everybody's out on a digital platform, and we've seen it kind of move. Obviously, you had records and tapes and CDs, and now there's a lot of people listening to records again, but everybody is online. And I know a lot of artists out there kind of struggle with the decision of, do you release a full album or do you just keep releasing singles as they come together? Where do you fall in that discussion? I mean, are you a guy that's working towards an album, or is it singles is how you're going to start getting your name out there?
Yeah, I think singles right now, for where I'm at in my career, I think right now is just building my, just keep material in front of the listener, in front of people, labels in town, other people in town. I'm just trying to hit, every month, every 2 months, new single, just so I'm always having something. And I've thought about doing like an album, but at where I'm at in my career right now, it's just, I feel like a lot of the songs that I would put on an album would kind of go to waste, because, a listener's only going to have one favorite song or 2 favorite songs on an album. And it's like, the songs I don't think get the recognition they would need,
And I think you're spot on with that. I mean, there's guys like, even Jason Aldean released almost his last album, almost the entire thing was singles before he put out the actual album. And you've got a lot of music that we've talked about a little bit that you've got coming out this year, and we've actually got an unreleased song that we'll share with everybody here in a bit. But, I mean, is an album something, once you get enough singles that you've released, that you're thinking about, maybe just combining them all onto one? Or is that something that you want to kind of, when you're ready to release an album, have some secretive tracks on there that people haven't heard before?
Right now, I'm just kind of trying to get a labels kind of interested with like a few singles here and there, and then them going, okay, well, and then kind of fun, like if I want to do a full album, just because it's quite a bit of money for a whole 10-song album or something. So that's kind of my play right now, is just kind of hoping that I catch, maybe a company or a label or somebody to hear one of these singles and go, hey, I'd like to cut a record with that guy,
Well, that makes a lot of sense. You're in a position where you gotta, do what you can to put yourself out there in front of people. And I don't know that a lot of fans out there maybe notice that there's a reason that artists do the things they do. Sometimes I know that if you're online, you're looking at comments and stuff, people get irritated that it's just one single after another, and they don't think about, hey, what does it actually take to not just create the music, but actually get it out there to people?
Oh yeah. It's a lot. Well, and you got to find the right songs too. And it's like, you got to be careful with releasing, is what me and my buddies always say. It's like, you want to release your best songs, and you just don't want to release just kind of mediocre. So you want to find the best ones. And that's, for the fans too. It's like, hey, this is my work, and I want it to be the best it can be for you,
Well, and you go top to bottom. I mean, you write almost all of your songs, or all of your songs. And I do want to talk about that and your writing style here in a minute. But we do have another song here for everybody to take a listen to. This one is called Tonight I'm Drinking Whiskey. Give us the story behind this one. Is this about the same girl?
No, it's probably about a couple girls, but it was actually about, I was watching, I'm a big IU basketball fan.
Okay.
And I was watching an Indiana basketball game, and they were getting smoked by one of our rivals, and I might have been drinking too much whiskey. And
is that a thing?
I had tweeted. Yeah, it might be, maybe just for me. But I had tweeted, tonight I'm drinking whiskey, till I forget what I started drinking whiskey for, not even thinking like it was a song or anything. And about an hour later, after polishing off a bottle of whiskey, I get a text from my good buddy White McCubbin, and he says, with a screenshot of the tweet, and he says, man, what song is this? And I'm just like, dude, I don't know. I'm trashed, And he's like, well, when you back in town? I said, Monday. And he was like, well, you want to write that? What you tweeted? I said, oh, well, I didn't even think about it. Yeah, let's write that.
Well, here, let's.
It's always.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, it's just always funny how a song could come to be. You just never know.
It is, and I want to dig kind of into your songwriting process in a little bit and that sort of thing. Let's let everybody take a listen to this one. It's called Tonight I'm Drinking Whiskey.
Hell, I know I look rough. I've been a little down on my luck. Yeah, I've been this way since I heard her say goodbye. Every light at the end of every tunnel, there's a train. I'm a window left down in the pouring rain. Damn, I can't get that girl off my mind. So tonight I'm drinking whiskey till I forget what I started drinking whiskey for. Here's to a memory that I probably won't remember by the time that I walk out that door. Yeah, I'm probably drunk, I probably don't care. I'm throwing back the jack that got me in here. So tonight I'm drinking whiskey till I forget what I started drinking whiskey for. I bet she's making good time, flying down I-85. Yeah, leaving dust, smoke, and me far behind. So tonight I'm drinking whiskey till I forget what I started drinking whiskey for. Here's to a memory that I probably won't remember by the time that I walk out that door. Yeah, I'm probably drunk, I probably don't care. drinking about her. But I know she ain't thinking about me. So tonight I'm drinking whiskey till I forget what I started drinking whiskey for. Here's to a memory that I probably won't remember by the time that I walk out that door. Yeah, I'm probably drunk, I probably don't care. I'm throwing back the jack that got me in here. So tonight I'm drinking whiskey till I forget what I started drinking whiskey for. Yeah, tonight I'm drinking whiskey till I forget what I started drinking whiskey for. I'm drinking whiskey for. I'm drinking whiskey for.
Whiskey by Dustin, Huff. And like I said, I want to talk to you about your songwriting a little bit. You started when you were 14, like we talked about, but are you one of those guys that can just sit down and write for hours, or does it come to you in places like a tweet or in the shower, and then you got to try to find somewhere to write it down?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a guy that I'm always looking at everything. Like my girlfriend or anybody that I'm riding in a car with, like I'm looking around it. There might be a license plate that I might, write about, or something on the wall when I walk into a bar. Or, I'm just always looking at something. Or other times I'll just sit in my room, for a couple hours and just try to come up with melodies, or maybe I had an idea that I thought of that day, and I'm like, well, and I just try to get started, and then I'll kind of take it into another writer. I'll hit my buddy up and say, hey, I think I got a cool melody or got a cool idea. Let's write it tomorrow,
Well, and a lot of your songs have a really good story behind them. And one of my favorites of yours that has a story, I don't know if it's true or not, is If That Ain't Country. And you talk about growing up on Country Road 220 Southwest. I'm assuming that's real, right? I mean, that seems like kind of a random thing to pull out if it's not.
Oh, yeah. I grew up on 220 Southwest. I even got it tattooed on my arm.
Well, here, let's let everybody take a listen to this one, because we do have another song here for everybody. It's called If That Ain't Country, and this is a really good example of your storytelling, and then I want to talk about how it came about after that.
I grew up on County Road 220 Southwest in a lower middle-class house, not too many neighbors around. Daddy worked for the county crew, Mama worked for the paper at the Daily News on Main Street up in town. The red, white, and blue flew in our front yard, and a good dog slept in a kennel out by the barn. And man, if that ain't country, well, I don't know what is. And man, you might think it's funny, but that's how we lived. We didn't have a lot, but always had enough back when I was a kid. And man, if that ain't country, well, I don't know what is. For summertime, it was fishing creeks, 5-gallon buckets of snipped green beans down window screen on every screen door. In wintertime when it got cold, we kept warm with a burning stove, wood stacked up as tall as me on the front porch. The red, white, and blue flew in our front yard, good dog slept in a kennel out by the barn. And man, if that ain't country, well, I don't know what is. And man, you might think it's funny, but that's how we lived. We Didn't have a lot, but always had enough back when I was a kid. And man, if that ain't country, well, I don't know what is. Well, I don't know what is. The red, white, and blue still flies in that front yard. Damn good dog's buried back behind that barn. And man, if that ain't country, well, I don't know what is. And man, you might think it's funny, but that's how we lived. We didn't have a lot, but always had enough back when I was a kid. And man, if that ain't country, well, I don't know what is. Well, I don't know what is. I grew up on County Road 220 Southwest in a lower middle class house. Not too many neighbors around.
So that one again, that one is called If That Ain't Country by Dustin Huff, and it's kind of an autobiographical song. I mean, you talk about your family and kind of where you came from. Is everything in that song true?
Yeah, I wrote that by myself. Actually, the house that I'm talking about in the song, it was like 3 a.m, and like I said, I might have been doing a little more drinking than I should have. and that I just started picking around, and that first line just kind of hit me. I grew up on County Road 220 Southwest, and then I just kind of thought about, how it was when I was growing up, and how, back in those days, I didn't realize that it was, it was just a normal thing. And now, like, I've been around to places, and I'm like, man, that's pretty backwoods. I'm gonna write a song about this.
Well, is the picture in the artwork, is that your actual house?
Yep, that's my mom and dad's house.
See, that's awesome. That's cool to be able to, and it's not something that you did right away. I mean, it's something that kind of came to you later, which I think is a really cool thing to have in a song, where it's not, at the beginning of your career, it's not something you've been holding on to. It's something that you're sitting there kind of thinking about the memories and put it out that way.
Yeah, it was great. Like I said, I was just sitting there with my dog, and I was like, man, I just kind of want to write a song about the house I grew up in, and tell, like, for me as an artist, like, who I am, like what kind, how I was raised. And so, yeah, every line in that song is completely true.
Well, that's awesome. So outside of your music, where can people keep up with what's going on with Dustin Huff? Like on social media, on your website? Give those out.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter and Instagram is what I use most, and that's Dustin Huff Music. And I use Facebook also, Dustin Huff Music, or if you can still add on the I guess, what do you call it? Not your fan page, but your personal page. I post on there too. Any social media, and then I have a website called DustinHuffMusic.com, and you can find show dates there. Keep up with my Twitter there, my Instagram there also.
As well, and it's only February. I mean, people have a lot of time to head over there and get caught up with what happened before now, because sounds like there's a lot that's going to be going on in 2020. What can everybody expect from you this year?
A lot of songs.
That's good.
We're going to be putting out. Yeah, we're going to be putting out. I've already got, like I said, I got one recorded right now that's almost ready, and it'll be coming out soon, within the next month or so. And then on Thursday, I'm already in the studio again this Thursday and recording the next single after that one. And we might even put 2 singles out whenever we record that one.
Oh, that's fantastic. And like you mentioned, you've got a song that's coming out. You were kind enough to kind of give us an unpolished version to give everybody a taste of what it's going to be like, so that when it comes out, they can add it to all of their playlists on Apple and Spotify and try and get you some of that traction there. But I'm a huge Eric Church fan, and this has some of those Eric Churchy vibe, so I'm definitely a fan of it. Where did this song Drunk Tattoo come from?
Man, I remember I played shows out in South Carolina, and I was out there driving back to Nashville. It's like a 6.5, 7-hour drive, and I always drive with my left hand, and I have a half sleeve tattoo, my home and a bunch of, like I said, 220 Southwest and everything. And I just got thinking about tattoos. I was like, songs about tattoos. I was like, what's a way that you can, I was just trying to figure out a way like you and this drunk tattoo of, how it's always going to be there type thing. And, I just kind of had that thought and didn't think much of it and had a write that next day. And we couldn't think of anything. And I didn't really know if I had a good idea or not. I was just like, we were about to just call it a day. And I was like, man, I got this weird idea like you and this drunk tattoo. And my buddies, Wyatt and the other buddy that I wrote it with, Joe Costa, he's like, well, that's cool. And we just started writing it and knocked it out in a couple hours.
Well, and it's coming out soon, and you were kind enough to share it with us and let everybody kind of get a sneak peek here on the podcast. So here it is. This one's called Drunk Tattoo, coming out here pretty soon from Dustin Huff.
Me and my fake ID wrecked my daddy's car. That cold pilot case of beer didn't get me very far. That's just one thing on a long, tall list that I still regret. Like that Friday night I picked a fight with whiskey in my blood. He was one bad SOB and I thought I was tough. That's a 2-day headache that I can't forget. But every scar along the way is just a scar. And every one of those mistakes left their mark. But there's a few here on my heart that I'm hoping start to fade. Memories I cover up, just can't lose. Like you and this drunk tattoo. Dealer, and I found out that 6 a.m. don't go good with tequila. And smarting off to a cop ain't too smart. But every scar along the way is just a scar. And every one of those mistakes left their mark. There's a few here on my heart I'm hoping start to fade. Memories I cover up, just can't lose. Like you and this drunk tattoo. And all the words I never said, all the things I didn't do, and how I hurt you. But every scar along the way is just a scar. Every one of those mistakes left their mark. Yeah, and there's a few here on my heart that I'm hoping start to fade. Memories I cover up, just can't lose. Like you and this drunk tattoo.
And that one was Drunk Tattoo from Dustin Huff. Keep an eye on his social media for the actual release day so that you can go out there, save it on Spotify, save it on Apple Music, add it to your playlist so that some of the decision makers see that there's activity on it, and hopefully we can get you added to one of those big playlists and get you some traction there, Dustin.
That would be nice. That would be real nice.
Well, we end every podcast the same way. It's called The Final Four, and I say it's the same way. We actually changed the questions up here on the last podcast, so You're only the second one here that's going to get to answer these questions, but they're probably the toughest questions that I'm going to ask you this whole time, okay? You ready?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, here it is. The first one, if you could go on tour with anybody, alive or dead, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I got to think about this one. Oh, there's so many.
Right? It's not an easy decision.
I would. Eric Church would be nice because I'm a big Eric Church fan. But an older Waylon Jennings would. I want to party with him one time.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that one. Okay, how about this?
Yeah.
Where were you and who were you with the first time that you heard your music being played that you weren't playing it on the radio or on somebody else's Spotify or anything like that?
Let's see. I think I was at a party one time, and I had released my EP, my first EP, and I went back home for a party, and they were playing it over the speakers that we were out in a pole barn. And I was like, well, this is kind of cool. It was kind of weird hearing my own song, my voice on it, but I was like, I could get used to this.
Yeah, I bet. That's going to be pretty cool.
Oh yeah. It's like, whenever I first started, you're just trying to get people to listen to you. And then you got people you're not even asking and they're playing your stuff. And I was like, oh, this is kind of what I want to do a little bit,
Yeah. Okay. How about this one? Who is your favorite artist that you've ever opened up for?
Luke Combs is probably my favorite. I've been friends with him for a while, and before he hit it real big, we were running small venues down in Georgia, Indiana, Alabama, Chicago, and where he's just selling out 600 plus venues at that time. And yeah, he's probably the best one that I've got to open up for and get to hang with.
Well, he seems like one of those artists that was like the best kept secret ever until everybody found him.
Mhm. Oh yeah. Yeah, all the songs, it's like I was hearing those, 4 or 5 years ago, and they're just now starting to get radio play. Like last year, and it's crazy to see how fast it's happened.
I bet. Okay, here we go. Last one. And I feel like this might tie into that last question, but what is your favorite on-stage memory?
Probably shotgunning a beer with Luke on stage I was playing back in my hometown, well, not my hometown, but my home state of Indiana, and we played at 8 Second Saloon. And it was a place that, when I was kind of in high school and kind of getting first started in music, that's the place that I wanted to play. It was like a 1,600 person room. So I was like, man, that would be cool to play up there one day. And he asked me to go on that weekend run with him. And that was our last stop. And I had all my friends there and my whole family. Hell, I might have had the whole town of Greensburg. I don't even remember, but, and he brought me out for the last song, me and Muscadine Bloodline. And, we would always do Friends in Low Places. And at the end, when they say finish your glass, we would tip our glasses up and just chug them down.
That is a badass story. That's a great memory. Like, I don't know that anybody's going to be able to top that. But you're the second one to get that question, so we'll have to check back in later. But Dustin, man, thank you so much for jumping on. This was a blast, and everybody out there, go visit him on social media. Go hit that follow, that like button. Go listen to his music on Spotify, and keep an eye out for Drunk Tattoo. But Dustin, thank you so much, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. And that was another episode of the Tea Party Podcast, the country music podcast where you find new friends and new music like Dustin, Huff, and Drunk Tattoo.